Yes, folks, welcome to Fundamental Wisdom, episode 9, with your host, Coach Bart K. On this podcast is where we ask the questions that you want the answers to and discuss ideas in order to help you level up to your highest self. We have practical discussions to aid your journey leveling up physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. And on this podcast, I'm very honored to be joined by a legendary man in the holistic health scene, a true leader for the young men, a man that has chosen a much different path than the masses for himself. Please say hello to Maro from Nature Chad. Maro, brother, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning.
Man. Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, means a lot coming from you.
Oh,
man,
man.
I've been doing good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Coming from me.
It's chilly. I mean, you are an OG, right? You've been here for a while.
You're the OG, man. Like, just to prove my point there, I used to follow your account on my personal Instagram, like even before I started, any of my stuff, and I still do to this day, I think. So yeah, you've been in this space a long time now. You've been in this space a long time now. So yeah, Sunday morning in Croatia, man. How's it going for you? All good?
Good. It's a bit chilly, but honestly, I have my coffee here. I did get some nice sleep. So I cannot complain, I cannot complain. Going to mass later, fasting today as well, training later. It's going to be a good day. So yeah.
Wow. Cool, man. Cool. So the first thing I said there was that you have been in the space a long time now. When we had our little chat yesterday, you said you were posting all the way since like 2018, 2019, but it was
2019, yes.
2019.
But in Croatian, but then I switched made a new account in 2020, like around August. I think I started posting what I'm kind of still posting right now. But it was more of kind of, I was still figuring out my aesthetic, I guess you could say. I was still figuring out what I want to do, as I was pretty much just posting, food, training, and the sun, grounding, even sun your balls, stuff like that. But after a while, I realized, okay, I actually have something to share that's not, what everyone else is saying. So that's how I kind of developed into this right now.
I like that approach, man. I like that approach, just taking the first step and starting, and then you figure out along the way, like you learn through exposure. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't start a YouTube channel. I don't know what I'm going to speak about. I can't start an Instagram. I don't know what I'm going to post about. I don't know my niche. I don't know this and that. But once you just start doing it, things seem to fall into place, right? Like you start figuring things out along the way. So that's good, man. That's like the first lesson. Start whatever it is.
No, absolutely. It's been my whole life like that, honestly. Like I was just a guy who was overthinking a lot about these things. Like I remember starting a blog. It's gone now. You cannot find it. But in 2019, and I was so much overthinking about the name, about the brand, about the logo. So you get stuck in that, beginning phase without even doing something. But right now, even with the business that I'm doing, honestly, I'm just like, okay, it's open now. I don't have anything set up, but it's open now. I'm going to take a client. And as you are into it, especially, I will give this example. For example, with ideas, when you are wanting to write something, you will not get ideas by sitting on them, but actually by more writing, by more doing, you will start getting even more ideas. And that's with everything in life. Movement starts everything. If you're sitting down, if you're just thinking about something, I feel like you cannot get the whole picture.
That's huge, man. Yeah, so just like getting that momentum flowing, and then the divine or God or whatever, what have you, seems to kind of come and support you. But that's huge as well. I find it with writing as well. Like it's so easy to get stuck in that loop, like you were saying, of just writer's block. You're like, I don't know what to, how do I but the better approach is just to write everything, like puke on the page, write everything out, and then just cross out, edit, do this and that. But cool, man. That's a nice topic there that we touched on. But what I wanted to ask you was, so you've been in the space a long time now, let's say 4 years thereabouts. I wanted to ask you, and you kind of touched on this briefly already, what's changed in the space in the last 4 years? So, you said, for example, that you went from Sonia Bowles and, you know, the standard, like, oh yeah, food, to now, you know, finding your own niche, which is kind of like long form posts and, for example, your quests and all of that stuff you're putting out. So, you know, you're an OG in the scene. How has the scene changed, you know, the holistic health scene on Instagram, would you say?
Well, I noticed that it's become a shift from the people that are really into like business self-improvement style. Like people are very official, people are very, you know, they're telling you exactly the methods with the whiteboard. That's how it was before. Nowadays, it's very much um, like, I would like to say, more personal, the way of self-improvement. You see people that are individuals and that are on the same kind of level as you, talking about their experiences, what they're doing, their lifestyle. And it's very much easier to relate to these people, and it's very much easier to, you know, start doing something. Yeah, and I like it because it's become something that everyone can get into. It's not something that you have to search on YouTube, you know, but you see, okay, this guy is doing good, you know, he's looking good, he's healthy. There might be something into this. But with that, with all of that also came people that are exploiting that also, in the sense that they know that there are many people now that are interested into it. I mean, it's the biggest problem nowadays, you know, for men trying to find their purpose, trying to find what they want to do in life. So these people, of course, find opportunities to make money from it, with courses, with this and that. So that's one side that is happening over, you know, for a few years, that is much more prevalent now. There were always courses, you know, there were always like business people selling you stuff, but I feel like now literally every person can do that now. It's not like you need to have these, you know, you need to finish this school, but every person can lie to you. I say it like that. So that's what changed a lot. But in like natural, it is a better place now, and a lot of people can and are getting better every day because of the new wave that's happening.
I feel you, man. So I feel how I like to think about life is that, you know, Newton's third law, any action is going to have an equal and opposite reaction. Yeah. So with the rise of the snake oil salesman, people selling you this, you know, for example, those Anon accounts, no face attached, you don't know what they look like. They could just be a copywriter. You know, you don't know who it is. It could be some little kid in Turgo Dagestan, like acting like he's some big guy, but it's like, oh yeah, and fucking AI and all of this stuff that's coming out. You don't know who to trust, but you know, the reaction to that is this influx of people like, hey, this is what my face looks like, this is what my voice sounds like, this is what my body sounds like, you know, guys like us, for example, that are so like vulnerable on social media, you know. And when it comes with this, for example, not to get into like a touchy subject here, but I know that you had a big journey with acne. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so, you know,
it's
for example,
at all. Yeah, don't worry.
You know, but you know, but still, like, just to expand on that, like, it's such a vulnerable subject. You know, it's something that, for example, people use face filters on to not show in pictures, or they, you know, look this way because this side is, but you know, like try hide it. But to have the kind of like courage and balls to be like, hey guys, this was my face, I looked like this, and then to give that advice of this is what I did and now I look like this, like that's massive, you know, like when you have that like personal brand face attached to something and a good personality on top of that as well, where you're just willing to help out people, man, it goes a long way. But I agree. Less on that little rant. Go ahead.
So I want to say, especially about vulnerability, this is the part that I think a lot of people get wrong in this space. They think that they have to be perfect all the time. They think that they have to display this perfect lifestyle, perfect meals, perfect training. Every day is great. And I mean, this is social media in general, but this is advice for anyone, especially listening to us and or in our space. Exactly that vulnerability, exactly those failures are what are people going to see, and what they're going to appreciate you much more because of it. Showing that you are a human, and then still getting up, and then still showing up, and not disappearing when you fail. This is the key. This is the key, because not only will you be more accountable, not only will you start growing and not escaping, but you will see that, yeah, I'm actually a human. We can relate, we can grow together. Because what I want to touch upon, the last point, the community is also growing weaker, unfortunately. We are more and more individual, whatever. We are more, things alone, and this is wrong, because it's exactly that exactly sticking together and growing together as a whole is what we need, especially because we are not a big space. We're not, like a huge red pill or something like that. We are pretty small, and staying like that, being alone, is not, I think, the right approach.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And just to kind of further back that point as well, good that you mentioned not trying to seem as God's gift, perfect. He can't do like the more you kind of, like we were saying, the more vulnerable you are, and the more you show people, like, yeah, I'm a human. Okay. For example, like, I can't really think of anything right now, Sunday morning, slow brain, but sometimes I'll have a croissant with my girlfriend, or sometimes I will not have my perfect 9 hour sleep routine and I'm gonna go out for a drink with my girlfriend, like, for example, things like this. And then that builds like so much credibility, and you're not just this like lifeless, idealistic form that people are like, oh my, he's the Messiah. He's like, oh, he can't.
Yeah.
You're a real human at the end of the day.
It can demotivate people. Actually, you are not doing people a favor by being perfect all the time, because it can be like, I can never reach this. They will be, I can never reach this point. That's not something you'd like, of course.
Feel you, man. So, question I was going to ask you there, you just mentioned this briefly, right? A couple of minutes back. So, you said that there is a lot of men purposeless nowadays, right? No purpose, no direction, no hero's journey happening, right? We have an entire generation pumping gas. So I don't know that whole speech, but you probably know the reference from Fight Club. So, man, that's still a prevalent theme today. The world is waking up quite a good bit. The space that we have is small, but it's growing bigger and bigger, man. I see it with your account. You've quite a lot of followers now. I see it with other guys, mutual friends that we have. I see it with my account, more and more people getting interested. Like, wait, like, these guys aren't like, for example, these guys aren't like putting it on, they're actually just like happy and living a good life. And like, in this world now where there's so many conspiracies and so much violence and divide amongst the people, and everyone's mad, and you're right wing, you're left wing, I hate you, you're this, you're pro this, you're anti that, like, they just see us living a good life, so they get interested. But ranting again, men nowadays, purposeless and lost. So can you expand on that a little? What are your thoughts?
Of course. So I think a good thing is that we all have a similar backstory, in a sense that we all do feel that way. We did feel that way, and we can definitely relate to people, And obviously, I still have some similar thoughts, because that's how life is nowadays, the modern world. Everything. So, like you said at the beginning, there's no hero's journey, and you don't know who you even are, what you're supposed to do in life. You're just thrown in, and then there's the society telling you, that you should not be a man, and telling you, that you should just follow the path, go to school, do this, do that. Great. Then there's, pressure from people talking about how basically pressuring you into doing drugs, pressuring you into, watching porn, because stuff like this is just very common themes you talk about with your friends growing up. What's your favorite porn category? Stuff like that. This is what's normal. And when you add on, like we said, there's no masculine figures. There are no people that will be like to guide you towards proper way of living. No God anymore. Everything is permitted. Everything is allowed, and there's no limits. There's no morality anymore, because we are like, well, I have free will. I will have one life. I will enjoy it. And then you add on things as well, like disconnect from nature. Like, literally everything is twisted, and everything is suited for our needs today. We are just almost a robots that feed off of sex, feed off of drugs, basically dopamine. And obviously, this goes for a while, because your body and your age can allow it. You're young, you can get away with these things, and especially in this modern world, because those before us worked hard, died to have this freedom right now. You look at it like this, then it's the common cycle everyone talks about, you know, hard men create good times create weak men, blah, blah, blah. It's true. It's happening all the time. So I do not blame anyone individually. This is very important for anyone listening. No, you are not essentially at your fault because of the world, because the world is this way. But now that you know something is not right, that's when you can start taking some accountability. But we go back. So the thing is, because we have so many possibilities, even though this is a good thing, it has turned into a bad thing. We do not know how to choose a path. No one has taught us. We just have hedonism. We just have addictions that keep us from thinking about these things. Like I said, you can get away, but sooner or later to catch up to you, you'll get depressed. You'll get, you know, so many men, unfortunately, kill themselves because of these things, because they just cannot find a way in their life. And like I said, I've been there. I'm sure you've been there. And it's normal that for you to have thoughts of purpose, that you don't feel any purpose, that you don't know what you're doing. But looking at it like this, as soon as you start doing something good for yourself, as soon as you get out of, you know, this horrible mindset and you just see a glimpse of light, your whole world can change. And I'm not talking about seeing someone else. I'm talking about literal actions that you do, that you do not, you know, read about, but you maybe take that one walk outside for 10 minutes. And you start doing it more and more. This is how you start seeing that life can be amazing just by your own actions. And this is what it just takes. Just one thing. Just one thing. And then building upon that. But you don't even have to think about building upon that. You don't have to think, period. You have to do. Because thinking got you where you are right now, about thinking about what you need to do, think about this, that. There's no thinking in this life. There's no future, because everything that you have is already right here. Everything is around you that you need. So by simply getting out of your head and getting into the real life and doing good thing, one thing, you start realizing, screw purpose, screw all of those thoughts. Let me just start doing something good for myself. And then through it all, you start naturally discovering other things in self-development, in who you are, and discovering maybe what your purpose even is. Because I don't think a purpose is a set thing. I look at life as something that you make. You literally can take what you have, be it traumatic or be it something good. It doesn't matter. Look at the past, not the future. Look at the past. Okay, this is my hero's journey. This is my backstory. This is what made me strong, not weak. I did drugs before, maybe not me. I did actually, but no worries. So I did drugs before, and so this is actually good. This made me, you know, realize that that was bad, and this is no need to feel sorry for yourself, but you need to make a story for yourself, and then realize, okay, I'm gonna be stronger because of it. This is how you can create purpose, literally. And purpose is not a grand thing. Purpose can be getting up in the morning, man, making your bed. That can be your purpose for a while. This is what people get wrong. They get scared of this big word. You just need meaning, and you give this meaning to yourself by choosing that you want just to feel good. And this is very simple. It's very easy, because I don't want to overcomplicate it. If you just want to feel good, that's not something like a selfish goal. It's a very real goal, and you deserve to feel good, man. And by just doing something good for yourself, that can be a first step towards bettering yourself, towards loving life. So you said you go on rants, I go on rants. So don't worry about
it. No, I love it. I love it, man. I love it. Just for the viewers, how old are you?
I'm 23.
23. Wow. So I'm 21, man. You're, you know, young and wise, because a lot of people, you know, find this out when they're 50 after some horrible event or something terrible happens. Often it takes like I hate to say it now, but it is what it is. Often it takes like a tragic event with, you know, for someone, or it happened to someone or someone that they know, that they realize this, that, oh, well, life can be so simple and so beautiful. Like, why am I worried about
Exactly.
purpose and Bugatti and 10 hoes and this and that and Dubai, when at the end of the day, all that matters is the relationships I have with myself, with God, with the people around me, you know, all of this. But man, that is deep, you know, that is deep. I love
thank you.
I love your analogy of finding purpose. Like, I feel like there's two extremes nowadays, you know, like young guys, and I've been there myself. So the first extreme, right, this side, they absolutely do not like, they just like don't know what their purpose is like, and they don't care to find out. They're just like stuck in that hedonistic treadmill, like you said. Just expand on that a little. I feel like people can't find purpose nowadays, like you said, because it's an overstimulating world. And naturally, humans move away from pain to pleasure, right? So that goes back to that quote, hard men create good times, whatever, da, da, da. Like, back in the day, how would you find pleasure and move away from pain? Like, for example, it was going way back, finding some food, or, you know, there was no phone, there was no social media, there was no Snapchat and Instagram likes. So, you know, you found that pleasure through, for example, physical fitness or going out and meeting people, saying hello to a beautiful girl, all of this. And nowadays we can get all that pleasure on the 7-inch screen, you know, so people just don't do anything. So like, you know, that's one extreme, just the apathetic, depressed loser types. I've been there, man. You just like, you know, drifting through life, you're abusing substances, you're smoking weed, you're doing nothing. You feel good because you're moving away from pain to pleasure, but you're like sweeping that pain under the rug, like you said, and eventually it catches up to you because you have a grand awakening one night and you're like, shit, man, like, you know, I'm 19 now. Like, what have I really done? You know, at 19, 3 generations ago in my family, there was already like probably, you know, my granddad was probably married already and fighting in a war and doing all of this. I'm 19, like, I've done nothing. But you know what I mean? Like, and then the next side, the next extreme is influenced by these like purpose red pill types on YouTube. But I've been on that side as well, where you try, find, and chase that one purpose, that one thing. What's my purpose? To the point where you get like artist block as well. So it leaves you almost in the same position as group number one. When you're in group number two, you're like, you've all these guys like, you gotta find your purpose, man. You gotta find your purpose, stay on your purpose. But like, bro, if you're a young guy, like, especially if you're a young guy, listen to this. What the fuck do you know about purpose, man? Like, you have your whole life ahead of you. Have you, like, what have you lived through that you know what your purpose is realistically, you know? Like,
exactly.
It's only once you
like
start.
Purpose can change. Yeah,
exactly. You know, there's so many different ventures, and all the most successful people I've met, for example, even here in Turkey, I've hung out with some really high level dudes, you know, just through like social maxing and networking. And none of them were like, oh yeah, I watched a YouTube video at 18 and I knew that was my purpose and I'm going to do that. Like, you know, for example, couple stories, like one of the guys I met recently, I actually did a podcast, Alex Leon. So like, he started out as like a computer geek, you know, like, you know, just not focused on his social life, whatever, like just sitting programming on his laptop. And then that evolved into him being like one of the most sought after dating coaches in the world, you know, like, so what does a computer nerd that can't talk to girls have to do with now helping guys how to like talk to girls and date and all of this? And for example, another guy I met here, really cool guy, about 3 times my age, coming up to 60. So it's really nice to kind of get that old wise man energy. But man, he had so many different things going on in his life, you know, like he was an artist manager. Then he scrapped that, started his company doing something completely different. Then he sold that and he got into yacht sailing and trips. Then he sold out and did another thing, sold out, like, you know, just, there's so many different things that you can do out there. So purpose is very subjective. Your purpose can change. Like one day, you know, you can be doing something for so long. For example, for me, that was like going from like standard gym bro and low calorie diet and protein and, this and that and all of that to like this more holistic side of things. Like I thought I really found something. I was like, wow, I could just eat 1,400 calories a day and be super shredded. Like, and then, you know, this was, let's say three probably years ago now. I've moved away completely from that, you know, like, so yeah, man, long rant.
No,
So I'm loving this
absolutely.
conversation.
Yeah, man. No, but what you said is very important. I think the purpose, it should not be a worry as much as your mindset should be a worry. Because if you have the correct mindset, then exactly what you said, any venture that you take is yours and you will do your best at it. And if you fail, you will not feel as bad as if you were saying like, oh, this is my purpose, my whole life is now gone, you know? This is not the right approach because it can be very bad for your, you know, for your mental health. But having the mindset of I'm a fucking warrior, man. I'm gonna go all in, give myself like 100% of myself, and if it works out perfect, I'm gonna do my best. But if it doesn't, oh well, next thing, you know.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah, that's the beauty of it,
and
man.
The thing is, it connects. Like every time you fail, every time you go into a venture, you learn something from it. You know, like I mean, this is a stupid example, but this first I think the thing that came into my mind, like when I was recording in 2019 in Croatia, I had like 20 subscribers. All right, but right now I'm again recording in 2023, and now I know how to edit. I already know how to speak a bit in front of camera. And that's just a small example how even though I failed, even though I felt horrible because I was like, oh my God, I was really committed to this. I really wanted to do something with it. You know, I imagined my whole career. Later on, it still paid off that I did that thing. So it's funny how it works and everything like that. Everything is like that, you know. Even now, even though I will not talk about details about my business, it is very much connected to what I did before, even though I never imagined I would get into this position. So life has its own ways it works. And one of the things that we can know in general is that movement is positive. And as long as you are striving towards movement and striving towards doing your best at something, then your purpose doesn't matter because you will naturally feel better as a person, as a man, because you are doing what man needs to do. Work, move, build, whatever it is, doing the fundamental things, the motions, not the specific thing, but the motions of building, creating, that is enough for you to feel like you have a purpose. And this is what is the most important thing, feeling that, not necessarily knowing exactly what it is. Because, for example, it is more about knowing yourself, even though you will change as a person as you grow, knowing yourself as in who you really are. For example, I know for myself that I'm very, for example, emotional person. I'm not afraid to admit this, but this emotion is allowing me to put it into something that I like, that I want to do, and it's making me better at it. So, okay, another thing is I have a lot of empathy for people. Okay, so this doesn't necessarily mean I will do this my whole life. I can do something else with people. I can even work in a bar job because I'm working with people. It's just about knowing who you are and then taking that specific thing that makes you and applying it to jobs, to hobbies, to anything else, you know? You can even be working a 12-hour job, but if you do one thing for 1 hour a day that you enjoy, that is still enough for you to feel like you have a meaning in your life.
I will back up with what you were saying just before that like every venture you try inevitably ends up coming around in the future again. So the way to look at this is where we get into like the more woo-woo side of things. I feel like if you're at a lower level of consciousness, this is where you start thinking, oh, these guys are chatting shit, but it's really not. You know, the more mindset stuff, it's so important. But less on that for now. Like the more things you try and the more things you fail at, the more you notice that it was just lessons or blessings for down the line. Because like you're saying, in this business that you're doing now, or for example, this YouTube channel, you're using all the stuff that you learned in the past where you were like, shit, then I failed, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. This has gone to shit. You know, move on to the next thing. But then it loops around. Same with me, you know, I did things 3-4 years ago when I built my first business that even like yesterday, I'm, you know, working on something else with my friend and I'm like, oh, well, you know, I did that a long time ago. I failed at it, but now this is coming in so handy in what I'm doing now because I learned it back then. So, bro, everything is like, it's a big loop. And if you could just detach from life and kind of think with your like your brain, for example, not your heart. Don't think this the wrong way. You know, you said you're emotional. That's good as well. But if you can just kind of like detach and view everything from like a third person perspective about yourself, you notice that life is so funny, man. Life is so comical, and everything that happens, like, bro, if you really just open your eyes and look around, there's signs like everywhere, you know, all the like synchronicities, everything's lining up. You may not see it in the moment, but I promise you, anything that's like happening, right, you're gonna look back on it in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, whatever, and you're gonna be like, wow, well, this was already like, you know, forecasted for me, foreshadowed. Like, oh, it's wild, man. I had something else I wanted to say. Yes, just to back up your point on like the purpose stuff as well. That comes through just reps, just straight reps. How do you build a good physique? Reps. How do you get a healthier body through nutrition? Reps, like repetition, eating the same meal. How do you feel better about yourself? Reps of good things that make you feel good. You know, so like purpose is crafted, I think, through first off conquering yourself. Because if you're stuck in that like weak mindset and anything just sets you off and gets you off track, for example, the modern day vices like porn or weed or like, you know, for example, you want to just take this weekend to work and take this weekend to like read books and better yourself and go to the gym, but your friends are like, no, bro, there's a party, we're gonna go get fucked up at the party, bro, let's go. And you give into that vice. It's, you know, it's so easy. But once you start taking the like correct holistic actions, for example, like you were saying, just if you're doing absolutely nothing, take a 10-minute walk a day. What's 10 minutes? You don't have 10 minutes. What are you, Elon Musk? Like, you have 10 minutes to take a walk. People love excuses. And then, you know, for example, you start eating better. Because you start eating better, that reflects into all other areas of life. You now carry yourself differently. You're now enticed to go to the gym. You're in the gym. You start building discipline within yourself, which reflects in your relationships, you know, sexual and with family and business. And, you know, now people respect you more. And then people respect you more, you're more credible. So people are more enticed to work with you. And, you know, girls or what have you, if you're 1% of the girls listening to this, you know, people are more inclined to, like, it's all interconnected, you know. And that's kind of going back to my own personal story. That's why I got interested in like holistic health, because, you know, everything comes into it. It's your like mental, spiritual, physical, social, emotional health. And like, I feel, you know, there's so many influencers out there that just focus on like one area of this. And they're like, no, bro, if you go to the gym, you're going to have more confidence. You're going to have more girls. You're going to have this like, okay, maybe, but is that really the right way to do it? Like, I'm sure you know what I mean. Being in the space yourself, you know, like it's all interconnected.
It can be very shallow.
Exactly.
The space can get very shallow.
Is one thing that you do, for example, go to is that going to fix your problems, man? Or is there some like deeper underlying like mindset issue there that you have some like mental roadblocks and blockages, you know, like is the shallow way of thinking. But less on that. That was a big, long spiel again, man. I love this. We're just ranting and ranting. This feels really, it's like we're politicians or something. No,
but it's getting things off your chest.
It's good, man. It's good. You're a really good guy, man. Let's talk about, for example, some of those, like, you know, we've touched a bit on those like plagues of modernity, say, you know, for example, falling into vice and just being on that hedonistic treadmill, chasing nothing but artificial pleasure, dopamine. So what are some steps that men can actually take, you know, like to get out of those like grips and shackles of just being stuck in this like self-manufactured hell on earth that, you know, some of these guys are stuck in? I'm only saying this because I've been there myself, you know, and it was guys like yourself and, you know, other guys in the niche that, you know, I started reading the content, and at first you're like, it's very like, you know, woo, it's, oh man, just think better thoughts and your life's going to be better. Like, you don't believe that when you're stuck in those like low levels, that low vibration, you don't believe it. Like you don't believe it, you discard it, but then you know start noticing, oh shit, well, he looks good, he's happy, maybe he's up to something. So yeah, ranting again. So what are some ways that, you know, the modern man, you know, can just start living a better life? We touched on this briefly, but people love practical steps. So what would you say?
Of course, of course, of course. So the thing with resisting like these vices and trying not to be addicted is the worst thing to just try to stop, because the reason why you already have them, because you are replacing the good that you need, you know, the dopamine, the fulfillment that you need in life. So the best way to stop something, or when, for example, like you mentioned, when friends invite you, the best way to actually have some ways to say no is for you to start doing good, because that good will motivate you to say no and will give you a reason. We need reason in life to help us. You know, for everything we need a why, and if it's a strong enough why, we will either do it or we will either not do it. You know, so number one thing is for you to choose one thing in life that you are maybe just interested in. It could be, maybe I could try working out. Just that. No more thoughts under that. You can find a simple program. You can even hit us up, honestly, if you're listening to this. I'm sure we will help you out. But honestly, just a simple program. Honestly, okay, maybe, like I said before, 10-minute walk. Okay. Start doing something good for yourself. And then that's where the magic happens. If you do it for a few days, if you stay consistent for a few days, the compound effect will come. And what is a compound effect? It's basically something in life that can be observed where a small increment, like small, like 0.001% movement in other direction over time will, or like over like, I don't know, like 1 year will completely change the direction of your life. There's a great example with planes. There are two planes flying, and the one plane is just, you know, going straight, and the other plane is just like 0.0. Okay. So at first, it's like they're not even moving. But as it goes on, it's completely different direction. This is life. And this is what you can do by those small movements. You will not even notice it, but you'll start feeling like, okay, where am I right now? Like you started working out, immediately you are eating better. What else? Maybe I'm sleeping a bit more. Look at me, I'm maybe more confident. I'm maybe more, you know, approachable. Stuff like this. This is what happens when you take action in life. And then it will be much easier to stop with the other things. I will give a personal example, because I started with the gym. You know, as I was struggling with my depression and, you know, with acne and everything, I just started, my brother told me, you can maybe start working out, you know, because there was this one thing that I always kept in my mind. And this is, again, what my brother said to me. Just because you have horrible acne, that doesn't mean that you need to be horrible everywhere else. Why don't you get a haircut? Why don't you maybe, you know, dress better? Why don't you start working out? I was like, I mean, yeah, this is completely true, because you get into these self-destructive behaviors, you start hating yourself in general. And okay, then I started working out, got a bit of results and fell in love with it, you know? Absolutely fell in love with it, started working out, became a gym bro. And then you start improving, maybe, then you start dressing better, stuff like this. You can call this shallow, but honestly, it doesn't matter at the beginning. It just matters afterwards what you're going to do. But at the beginning, you can be as shallow as possible. You can be looks max, what they say, you know, it doesn't really matter, because you're doing something good for yourself. And basically, I was smoking cigarettes and weed, like when I was a teenager. But as I started working out, it became much easier to resist these temptations. And what else? And yeah, and as things like that, like going out, drinking, same thing. Like the most I drank in my life was when I was 14 and 15. And yeah, and very, very soon I just realized, okay, this is not something I like to do, because I do not want to wake up feeling like shit. I do not want to associate myself with these people. And I did lose friends. I was kind of alone. But also during that time, I found a girl which I'm still with. And things like that happen. Yeah, and things like that happen. And it's a beautiful thing. But pretty much to go back to the point, doing something good, doing it for a while, is the first step. After you've done that, the second step is to actually start now setting goals. Because doing good, yeah, that's all fine. But after a while, you need to have a direction which you're going to go at, because this is natural for our humans. We need to have a place where we go. So first, you can even skip listening to this. Just first choose something, literally anything that you want to do. After you've done that, step 2 is, okay, let's create small, realistic goals. If it's maybe, again, going to the gym, I will go to the gym 3 times a week for 30 minutes. That's your goal. Don't think anything more about it. After you get into the habit, then you can start thinking, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to reach 60 kilograms on bench. I'm going to do this and that. And then sooner or later, it turns into, I'm going to read a few books. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. After a while, and right now, I still do these goals. Like 7 years later, I still write these goals. But more and more, it became a thing like, I will have something, I will have direction set, but it will not be specific, because what these goals teach you is to have a specific mindset of completing things, of achieving things. And then afterwards, you do not need to have like every single thing that you want to do written down. But this is later on. At the beginning, set realistic goals, and I will just briefly tell you how you can set them. This is a method in business that is very often used. It's called SMART, setting of goals. This basically, it's like letters from the beginning of the words, like SMART. S is specific, M is measurable, A is attainable, yeah. R can be realistic or something. It can change, and T can be time-based.
Yeah.
So when you look at a goal like this, for example, I want to get better. That goal is not achievable because you do not know what you're going to do. What you're going to do. But for example, I want to get better physically. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Then, what are you going to do to get better physically? Well, I'm going to start working out. Okay, so I'm going to start working out. When? Tomorrow. Okay, how much time? 30 minutes. And then, say 2 hours, that's not realistic. So you need to, okay, that's not realistic. Maybe 30 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Okay, specific. Well, I'm going to work out for that time, but what am I going to do? And find the program. And this how it goes. So from the goal of I want to get better, you have turned into I will do full body training 3 times a week for 30 minutes. This is something your mind can rationalize and see, okay, this is real, and now I have a plan. It's not something that I just a wish, because you turn a wish into a realistic thing that you're going to do. So doing this, I think, is one of the most important things you can do at the beginning. Because if you like, it's very, very hard to just wing it. Some of us can do it, some of us cannot, but having one thing like that, it can change your whole life. It did for me, it did for so many other people, and that's my advice for people struggling to quit. If anything, I literally didn't talk about anything about quitting and getting out hell of the earth, because it's not about what you're trying to resist. It's about what you're doing. That's the whole point in life. It's about what you do, not what you're not want to do. You know, I wrote a post like 3 years ago about people talking about no fap, no this, no that. Okay, but yes, what? Yes, this. No, it's people get ridiculous with these things. And I will respect someone more. I will respect someone who's popping 3 times a day, but he's successful, than someone who is not and he's doing shit with his life, you know? Doing morning routines for 2 hours. Yeah, doing morning routines for 2 hours, reading that, and then he's at home like this. This is not the correct approach. This is the self-improvement side that people get wrong. As I said, the purpose is everything. It's a mindset, it's a way of living, it's a way of approaching life. And the more you do good, the more you will get good in return. Even though it might not seem that way right now, it is how life works.
That's a good rant there, Zoman, and that's a beautiful answer, looping back to SMART goals and all of that. Because, like you said, if someone's lost, purposeless, doesn't know where they're going, where they're headed, even if they want to shoot, right? Even if they want to take the shot, but there's no target, where are you going to shoot? You know, if there's no target, you don't know that you've made the right shot. So like you're saying, do some SMART goals, make it as specific as possible. That's what I work with as well, getting really clear on what you want and really clear on how you're going to do it, and really clear on the time, really clear that it's realistic. So that is massive. You spoke there briefly as well about the shallow side of self-improvement, which is a big trap that people fall into as well. I've been there as well. Sure you have, and most others have as well. So like you were saying, you get into like the black pill side of things and looks maxing, and you fall into conspiracy theories, and you're like, wow, seed oils are everywhere. Wow, they're trying to kill us all, and they hate us, and this is so awful. And then that reflects on you internally as well. So you start like thinking you're perfect, and because you know this information, everyone else out on the streets is so stupid, and they don't understand me. They don't understand me because I'm mewing and I chew mastic gum, so they don't understand me, and I'm better than them. And it's so easy to fall into that trap as well. So you were saying that that's like step 1 or step 2 or something. So I would say step 3 is re-socializing into society again, because yes, society's bad, society's fucked, everything's falling apart, society, okay, whatever. If you're stuck in that, that's what you're going to see. You know, if you're stuck in that, I'm better than everyone else because these people don't go gym and he eats seed oils and I don't. And he wears sunscreen and I take shilajit and magnesium. Like, oh, bro, like, you know, so you need to reintegrate yourself into society. Okay, you're doing good for yourself. You're living a different life path to everyone. But like, everyone is a teacher realistically. And now that's a big mindset shift that I had as well, because like I said, I was stuck in that as well for quite a while, especially, for example, in London, even last year. This was only last year, bro. Like, thinking, you know, being out in the streets, I'd just be like, everyone is so, it's all just like money, money, money. They don't know what they're missing out on in life, that like so hedonistic, and everyone's eating shit food, and that, like, bro, that you're the only person that feels that, you know. But when you change from that mindset into like, well, everyone is a teacher, everyone has something to teach me, everyone has cool stories, everyone, 99% of people just want to be good humans, and if I approach them, I can have a nice conversation. Okay, maybe his views are different, maybe he eats a different way, maybe he looks a certain way, but realistically, you know, like, if you just open yourself up to the world and get out of that like hole that self-improvement can put you in, that like cave where you're just grinding, and get out there into the real world. I feel like that does a lot of, you know, improvement as well for you internally. You start feeling like a member of society, you start getting connected as well. And that's so important, because I think this was said already, at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, realistically, you're not going to remember the day that you lasted 87 fucking weeks with no fap. You're not going to remember this and that, and like, you know, any of the like shallow self-improvement. So you're going to remember the relationships, like, and you're going to remember the people and the things you did with those people and all of that stuff. So that's a big long rant there as well, but I feel like that's very important. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, look, like I'll also just touch upon it. The thing with this, I tweeted the other day that I have more respect towards like regular cucked modern male than the people with like shallow masculinity, because they are more hateful, they are more bitter towards people than those people. They just don't know they are, you know, cucked, or you could say something like that, but they don't know. But these people know that they are like better, and they hate on everyone, you know. That's one of the biggest things you need to realize when you go on this journey, that you are pretty much, I would say, this irrelevant. Why should anyone care what you're doing? Why should you think you are superior because you're just trying a different path? Just because you're thinking like this shows that you are worse than them, because they're not putting their nose into your place. You know, they're not caring pretty much what you do. But you are like, oh, why are you eating seeds? Why are you eating this? Why that? Everyone is responsible for themselves. You can show them your way of living, and if they agree with it, okay. But if they do not, who are you to force someone the message upon them? You know, the same thing is, you will change your opinions. You will be a vegan, for example, and you will force everyone to be a vegan, but then later on you will be like, oh, but meat is good. You can be wrong as well, you know. And this is a big thing that people need to realize, that you can be wrong, and I can be wrong at this moment in time. Maybe in a few years I will completely say something else. This is okay. but I will not try to make you believe into something. I will share what I think right now is good. If you don't agree with it, okay. I'm not better than you. I'm not better than anyone else. We're just all unique human beings. At the end of the day, we are doing good first for yourself. This is about you, man. If you don't want to jerk off, that's on you. You don't have to share that with others. You know, you don't have to share your suffering. You don't have to be acknowledged, which is the most important thing. People want to be acknowledged. They want to be like, oh, you're a good boy. Good for you for going to the gym. Bro, fuck off. You need to be your own person and doing it for your own goals. That's why I said it's important to have goals. You do not do it for girls. You don't do it for, I don't know, for social media. You do it for yourself because you want to be happier, you want to be healthy, you want to be better. This is the way it should be. But again, I will not shame people that started for those reasons, for other shallow reasons, because starting is good. Good is good, general. But for later on, for your own well-being and future, it's more important to focus on those holistic, as we say, elements for your own sake. And what I always say, as you do good for yourself, you are automatically improving the world and improving your society, improving your neighborhood, because you are just a better person. You're more calm, you're more patient, and you're contributing just by existing, by being this beacon of light, as I like to say. You know, being this a storm, but you are like this. You can still see the beacon of light. You can still see whatever it is in the sea. What is it called? Like those
a lighthouse.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But pretty much that's it.
Yeah, that's massive, man. That is huge. And even on social media, right? The trap. Well, actually, it's a fine balance. Don't get me wrong, but back in the day, I used to be real preachy, if you know what I mean. Do you know, like, for example, like the way some people preach in like the likes of London or whatever, they stand there on the street corner and they're like, you have to believe in this because this is the only way. Or then you have the person across the road is like, no, you don't believe that. You believe what I'm saying. I used to be like that as well, you know. Just telling people you're dumb because you burn in the sun because you eat seed oil. Like, that's not the way to do
it will
things.
do more harm. It will do more harm to them, and it will create resistance. Yeah, it will create resistance towards them. They will be like, in spite of you, I will just not do that what you said to me. You know, I will not do it because you are being an asshole about it. You know,
people generally don't want to do what they're told to do because it's like, you know, if you put a big red button in front of someone as well and it says do not press, most people are going to press it, you know. Same as the opposite of that. If you tell someone like, you know, bro, you have to go to the gym and do this solid straight, people are going to shut up, man. Who are you? You know, so the way to do it is, like you said, live and lead by example. People see you doing good and people are like, oh, how are you doing good? And then you can be like, oh, you know, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And yes, it's working for me and it's worked for all my friends and family and clients and everyone. So yeah, that's important, man. That is important. So we're coming up on an hour now. So let's dive just briefly into one more topic, right? So gonna loop it back to the acne story, if that's okay with you, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, you know, I see it, man. I see it a lot here, you know, people struggling with that. And it's, you know, I like to think it's pretty preventable. And I know obviously hormonal and when you're going through puberty and stuff like that, you know, your hormones are all over the place and it can, excuse me, it can it can just show up or whatever. But if it's happening like later in life, it's usually, you know, as a result directly from your lifestyle. So let's hear your story with it, but more importantly, let's hear what you did to, you know, fix it up now because you're looking good.
Yeah, it's a funny story how I fixed that. But for the story, how it began, around 14, I was starting to get, you know, flares up a little bit on my face, but also like on the upper back and stuff like that. I didn't pay much attention to it, you know. It got worse and worse, but I didn't care. It was like, okay, whatever, you know. It was all until I started going to high school, where I realized that people are looking at me a bit weird, you know, like in changing room, stuff like that. And I became very I became insecure because I was like, well, I don't know, I'm different, pretty much. I'm different when I'm like this. And unfortunately, it got worse and worse, you know, the acne. Like all of my back, chest, you know, arms, even neck, you know, horrible. Like I mean, I don't even, thankfully, I don't even have scars, but I was for everything. Everything was here. I can maybe put show you, send you pictures so you can put them up if you want. But it was horrible, and yeah, it was destructive because for example, I live next to the sea. I didn't go to the sea for 4 years. Didn't take off my shirt, and it was on. I remember some days we were going to school or going to somewhere where I would just turn around crying and go back home because I was so self-conscious about so sad, and it's not only because of me, because I told you other people are looking at you a bit different. It's normal. You are different. People will look at you. So it was like that, and of course, with all the things where you're a teenager figuring it out, and then you add on different things like addictions, gaming, smoking, drinking, stuff like that. It turns into a horrible mess. So the thing is, when I talk about this now, I'm not talking about necessarily some trauma. I'm talking about the best thing that happened in my life.
Wow.
Because without it, I would not be here. I would not be talking to you. I would not be the person I am right now because that built me. It's literally the most biggest blessing, because I would not start working out when I did. I would not learn so many things. I can say that young, what some people will learn later, because I did go through that. I did suffer through it. I did go through depression, and I know how horrible it feels, and I know why I started doing this. So without it, who knows where I would be right now, But during that time, 16, 17, yeah, that was life changing. And honestly, what this is what the biggest thing that cured my acne was stop caring about it.
Oh wow.
No, this sounds esoteric. This sounds weird, but it's literally true. I stopped caring about it. I finally, when I remember the breakthrough, when I finally took off my shirt, I was still horrible, but I took my shirt. I was working out for 2 years now. I was enough confident in my body, in myself, in my physique, that I can show it. I didn't care about any of that. From that point on, I stopped caring, and slowly but surely it went away. It does have something to do with age. As you grow older, as I got out of puberty, it will naturally get better. But honestly, I'm telling you, even right now, I do not care what it is, and not only that, I'm proud because I wear these like a scars, like a battle scars on my back. I'm very proud of it. I don't mind it, and this is the mindset that you must have if you're dealing with something in life. Being a warrior in this situation and taking good from it, not feeling sorry for yourself. Because I'm telling you, I would not have got to this point. I would not be happy. I would not have a beautiful girlfriend, job without me going through this. So for anyone trying to cure their issues or struggling with insecurities, being, I don't know, maybe they're shorter, maybe you have big nose, whatever it is, who fucking cares? This is you. Embrace it and focus on the other areas that you can control. That's all it is. Other areas that you can control, you can be smart, you can be strong, you can be everything in life, but you still decide to focus on that little thing that's bothering you. That is we always look for faults. We never look for what's good. So even though I have acne, and honestly, if I wanted, I could make it a whole big deal on my page and start telling how I cured it, make it a marketing thing, because I do have good transformation. But I sometimes disappoint people when I tell them, stop caring about it.
Yeah.
Fix your life, but fix it because you want to fix your life, not because of acne. It can be a motivational factor, especially at the beginning, but you should not carry it around like a cross. It should be wings for you to rise up in life. It should be a perfect opportunity that God has given you to level up, to be better, because you have a tougher path. You have a tougher path than other people, which you should be appreciative of, because you will grow better of it. You will grow because of it even more, because people do not have to go through that. Not every person has to go through that, but you do. This is good. It will build you. So, other than that, other than fixing this mindset, obviously the thing for acne, for me, what's worked most is very simple: sun and sea. Being outdoors, being in the sun, pretty much burning, but not really, and sea water, the salt. This combination of these things, not only will it heal the scars with the sun, but the salt will dry up your acne. And when this happens, if you get more inflammation, if you get more acne, okay, then you start thinking about your diet, about your sleep, about your lifestyle. Like I said, first fix your mindset, then you can fix this. So for acne, I will sum it up briefly, but pretty much it is the same for almost any disease or any way of upgrading your life. You need to eat a lot of just good food, fat, eggs, but actually, no, let me put it like this. Before you do any of that, get on an elimination diet. Because often, even though we talk about raw milk, dairy, stuff, that often that can be a cause of acne. Or often bread can be a cause of acne, or often red meat can be a cause of acne. It is very different for people. Very different for people. So eliminating food, a lot of food, by just restricting yourself to a few ingredients for a few weeks, that is actually very good. Even going on a fast, a bone broth fast or something like that, very healthy. And then slowly adding food to see if it flares it up. Other than that, but once you figure it out, you don't have to think too much about supplements. You don't have to think about this too much. If you are willing to think about it, do a blood test. See actually what is missing, Don't try to be your own doctor completely. But other than that, I often say that it's more important what you don't eat than it is what you eat. There's many things in life, it's important what you do, but I think with food, it's actually, you can be very healthy even if you eat like plain food, but avoid the shit food.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my philosophy is obviously some things you can immediately cut off if you're still eating it, is like sugary food, like sodas, big key. And then any food like it's just packaged, like those croissants or those candy bars, stuff like that are filled with I want to say seed oils, but it's even worse, those chemicals and stuff like that. I mean, because seed oils, they're horrible, but honestly, it gets worse than that.
There's levels,
Yeah, so basically anything packaged you can remove, anything packaged, or at least while you are trying to figure out what is flaring you up. That should be figured out. Other than that, salami, stuff like that, like those packaged salami, that are filled with fat, that is very often something people will get flare-ups from. What else? So yeah, pretty obviously seed oils. We talked too much about it, but I think you already know. Everyone who's listening, they know.
Yeah, hopefully.
And the other thing is, so this is for what you do for your body. Of course, drink a lot of water, a lot of water, and take some salt with it. If you're drinking like 5 liters, don't flush yourself out. But so a lot of water, a lot of hydration, a lot of fruit is also good. The more fruit with antioxidants is very helpful, I find. Focus on these foods and then add other like staples, we like to say, into your diet to see how they work. And this, just remember, this is not for the rest of your life. This can be for a few months. This is what I wish I did before, because it will help me a lot with my acne. But now I know it's the best approach. So see what's the elimination diet, number 1. Now let's get to the hygiene part. Obviously, you don't have sea, but you can do like with sea salt. You can do baths, or you can get like in bottles, stuff like that, and stay in sun. This is very good way to help your acne. But the other thing is with your hygiene, very simple. Change your like pillowcase like every few days. People, I think, forget about this. They sleep on the same pillow for months. This is literally clogs up your skin. You get acne. It's very simple hygiene. Another thing is washing your face. I had so many routines like moisturizer, cleanser, exfoliator. I was like a girl completely, None of this helped. Literally none of this helped. But how? Like, you need to have a cleaning morning and night routine, right? Everyone knows this about skincare. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. It did nothing to me. It maybe dried up my skin, but of course acne would return because it was coming from inside mostly. But still, these hygiene things are very important. What else? So I only wash with water, like lukewarm water. And because of course, if you shower a lot, your skin can still get dry, and you need to replenish it something. So I often talk about jojoba oil, which is the closest thing to a human sebum, like your natural oil is the closest thing and replicates it. and it's also anti, I think, for fungal and stuff like that. So very good for your skin. It just replaces what you took out by water, and it nourishes it. You know, if it feeds it. So it's very simple for the hygiene. Don't touch your face all the time if you have acne, or your back, especially dirty fingers. That's very often known. Don't pop acne, even though it's like a big thing. Leave it; it will naturally leave out, or you will have scars, and that's what you don't want. And what else? You can. There is a like a cure that is more of like a cream. It's not necessarily natural, but it does work. It's retinol, like retinol creams. It's vitamin A. It's very simple. You can it does heal the acne that you have, but most important is so you don't have it back because it will return. So this is what I talk about external, but internal is more important, and you do it by mindset and by cleansing your body, doing elimination diet, and then slowly adding things on to see what does work and what does not.
Dude, yeah, that's like the perfect action plan, you know. Fully backed by me as well. There, my skincare routine. I posted about it recently. Sun, sea, and sweating. You know, it's that simple. And the more stuff I used on my face in even university, the worse my face was, and I was getting breakouts and stuff. But it really is just exactly how you summed it up, and you've put it beautifully. So people, if you're struggling, for example, with acne, or you just want to up your skin health, or you're slowly finding out that your 7-step skincare routine is bullshit and you're wasting money, give this a try. Look at us. You have 2 guys with perfect skin telling you it works. It works, you know, anecdotal, but it works.
I just want to mention, like, for the money I spend now on like hygiene stuff, it is literally I spend what I used to spend in a month, I spend in a year now.
Exactly.
It's very simple.
Dude, exactly.
And also, I just want to say, for example, if you're in experiencing hormonal things and stuff that can be obviously changed, but it is very important to understand that sometimes you do not have control over this. I even though I tried everything when I was like 16, a lot of things didn't just work. Maybe I could, like I said, I could clean up the exterior, but my body was just so messed up because of everyone in my family experienced the same thing. You know, they wanted to take, and a lot of them took like Accutane, if you know about it.
Yeah.
Horrible drug. Horrible drug. Yeah. Like it can get you depressed, stunt your growth. I decided to stick to just grind it out, and obviously now I'm here. I'm thankful for it, but don't feel necessarily sorry for yourself, and don't. It's not your fault in a lot of cases. In some cases it is, especially later on in life. But if you're struggling with right now and something similar like that, don't overthink it. That's what I'm saying. The mindset is very important. Sometimes you cannot just help it and accept it that it's that way, and work on other avenues in your life.
Exactly.
You can tell, like with girls, for example, you can be ugly, man, but confidence, your attitude, that is what got me, Margaret. I was still struggling with with acne at that time, but the way I was, the way I was stubborn in some sense, the way I was, being expressing myself, just expressing myself who I am. That's what got me more friends, more people. Nobody cared about acne, nobody. No, and most people, after a while, you will notice that maybe some kids in school will notice it, or maybe make fun of it, but most people don't care. Just as most people don't care about your no-fap chicks, also most people don't care about your scars, about your acne. Like you will notice, I'm a lot of the time shirtless, and people never say anything, never, because they don't care, or they are just too polite not to mention it. So it's all in our head. Just as I was self-conscious, because I was telling you, before high school, I was like, whatever. But only when I started being self-conscious of it, that's when it became a problem. So that's why I'm telling you, mindset. You can be fucked up, but your mindset is everything. With everything that we talked about in this podcast, it's a mindset. No matter how funny it sounds, it is a shift in your mind. How you just approach life, how you take actions and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is huge. That is huge. Takes a certain level of like consciousness as well to understand that. But after listening to Fundamental Wisdom, That is where you're headed, my friend. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Maro, we have gone just a bit over an hour, but that is amazing, dude. This was such a good chat. Like I
Thank
just
you.
like,
Likewise.
dude, I do another one back to back right now, but it's time for some eggs. So just to wrap this all up, Nature Chad, let's hear what you have going on. Let's hear where we can reach you. Let's see if there's some cool projects coming up that people should, look out for, all of that. Plug your YouTube channel, and I'll let you go have your eggs also.
No, I'm fasting today,
Oh,
so no eggs
excuse
for me,
me.
but
Fasting.
yeah. No, but yeah, so people can find me. I'm on Instagram mainly. That's my main platform. It's just nature.ched. It's all together, nature.ched. And I'm also now on YouTube making videos roughly weekly. I will also post my podcast there. It's also Nature Chat. Everything is Nature Chat. So you can find me easily there. And what I also have is that something I'm very proud of is my cookbook. You can check that out as well. It is, yeah, I think it is it is something I'm very proud of. I brought my culture into it. I brought my passion into it. There's more than 30 recipes, some stories. So it's very good. You can check that out, and you can, if you came from this podcast, I will give you 25 discount. Just write Fundamental Wisdom
Wow, let's
yeah,
go.
just write Fundamental Wisdom in the code together, and that's it. And what else? So I've been working on a project which I will soon announce. It will be which we briefly touched upon with my quests. I've been making quests for a while now, and this will be something that is very serious and very important for those who, while listening to this, are truly want to dedicate themselves to something, but they need just a little bit of extra push, a little bit of extra guidance. And as I did many quests before, a lot of people fail because they say they're in, but they don't have accountability. They don't have anything holding them together. This is what this project will have. And yeah, probably this month I will announce it properly. So look out for that. I'm very excited.
Let's go.
Yeah, and also a book is coming maybe at the end of the year or next year.
Wow. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, guys. Keep your eyes open. Nature Chad, the man himself. So yeah, bro, Maro, very, very good conversation. I'll say again, dude, you got me smiling. So incredible, man. We have so much to talk about. Like right after I finish this, I'm scheduling up another one with you, like whenever you have time. So dude, there's so much that we didn't talk about, and I would love to. So wow, yeah. Guys, actually let me know. Should I make these podcasts longer? Because I could talk for like 2.5, 3 hours. I know some people don't have time like that for a podcast, but if someone's willing to, is that a thing that you would be open to? Like, just shoot me a DM on Instagram. If 1 hour is enough, that's fair enough because, people have stuff going on. Not a lot of people have 3 hours to listen to a podcast, but actually let me know. So yeah, Maro, man, thank you so much. That was really amazing. And yeah, I hope to see you now shortly. Hope to see you shortly in Croatia with the boys when I'm traveling. So that'll be good. Yeah. So thank you so much for hopping on. This has been Fundamental Wisdom Podcast, episode 9 with Nature Chad. To all the listeners, thank you so much. It's Sunday here, so I'm going to say it like this. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Much love. Mwah. Ciao.
Much love.